Welcome back to OT Sports. Today we got our Big Sky Conference Tournament predictions. We're doing all 32 college basketball conference tournament picks. We're doing a video for every single one right here on this channel. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss out on any of these videos. We already have, if you include this one, 13 videos out on the channel right now. And we've done some pretty good conferences so far. The Sun Belt is a really competitive league this year. West Coast Conference, Missouri Valley, a lot of other sneaky little conferences that could be interesting to tune into. So, this is the place to be for March Madness conference content and conference tournaments as well, because we're picking every single one right here on this channel. Turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss out on whenever we post. We're doing like 3 videos a day. And next week, all the big conferences start next week. The Power Six, the Mountain West, the American, other conferences that have some pretty big implications. I mean, we're just getting started. This is the place to be for March Madness, along with college basketball. We also do college football, NFL, NBA, MLB. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. As always, my Discord next to linked in the description. You can join that. You can follow that, whatever you'd like to do. But let's get in to the brackets. So this conference does it a little bit weird. They have the 9 and the 10 seed play each other to determine who plays the 1 seed, and they have the 7 versus 8. Typically it's 8-9 play each other and 7-10. But they do it this way. I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of interesting. They reward the 1 seed a little bit more. They have them play guaranteed to play the one of the 2 worst teams. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's not the traditional way to do things. But that is how they do it. So, yeah. So let's just start with some picks here. So we got the 9 seed Idaho taking on the 10 seed Sacramento State. And both of these teams are pretty bad. They are both near the bottom of the country in terms of overall KenPom efficiency. Idaho being 3 spots ahead of Sacramento State. And they haven't struggled as much as Sacramento State has in conference play this season. They got an 11-20 overall record to Sacramento State's 8-23. Idaho is a little bit higher in offense, but Sacramento State is a little bit higher in defense. I'm going to take the defense actually in this one. I'm going to go with Sacramento State. Yes, they have been struggling, but they got nothing to lose. They're the worst team in this conference. I think they can win a game here. Moving down 7 versus 8, we got Idaho State taking on Northern Arizona, and I'm actually going to go with Idaho State. Northern Arizona is quite a bit lower in KenPom than Idaho State is, so I will go ahead and take the upset. So we've taken 2 upsets so far. Idaho State inside the top 300 in defense, almost inside the top 200 in offense. Northern Arizona just barely inside the top 300 in both offense and defense, so I will go ahead and take Idaho State here. Looking back up to the top, we got the 1 seed Eastern Washington. They went out early in their conference tournament last year. They lost in the first round on a buzzer beater, I believe it was, if I'm remembering that correctly. I don't think they're messing around this year. I think they take care of business definitely in this quarterfinal game in the first round. I think they can definitely move on here to the semifinals. Taking a look at the 4 versus 5 seed, Weber State taking on Montana State, Weber State is actually the second highest ranked team in this conference, but Montana State is nothing to scoff at. They have put together a very sneaky little season. They have a very nice defense, and they like to play pretty fast. Their offense isn't the best, but they do play pretty fast. So I think they could give Weber State some troubles, but Weber State is one of the 3 teams that are positive overall in KenPom in this conference. Weber State has a very nice all-around team, top 150 in offense and just outside the top 150 in defense. I will go ahead and take Weber State here. I think they are better, and I think they can get it done. I think they're more well-rounded. I think they're better on both sides of the ball, and I think they can knock off Montana State. The 2 seed Northern Colorado taking on Idaho State. And I think this is a sneaky little game here. I think Idaho State could actually get this one. I would not be surprised because we see this a lot where a team who hasn't played in a while, they play a team who just won yesterday and they end up losing and get upset. This is one of those examples that I think could very much happen. I'm going to be safe and take Northern Colorado. I think their offense is good enough. They have just outside top 100 offense, and they're one of the fastest teams in the country, fastest paced teams that is. So I will go ahead and take them. I do like them. I'm not extremely high on them or anything. I do really like their offense, but I think Idaho State might be able to steal this one from them. I wouldn't be shocked if they did so. The 3 seed Montana taking on Portland State. Now Portland State is pretty down low in KenPom. They're at 243 overall, but their defense just outside the top 150. I think that could be enough to get them the win here, but they have a pretty tough matchup. Montana is 81st overall in offense. That is very good. This team actually has some sneaky little teams high up in KenPom. They got some good offenses in this conference. I think this is just a bad matchup for Portland State. I don't think they're gonna be able to score much on Montana. Montana does have a pretty rough defense, but Portland State's offense isn't anything special. I don't think they're gonna be able to keep up with Montana's offense, and I don't think their defense will be able to slow them down as much as they might hope. So I will go ahead and take Montana. Now moving back up to the 1 versus 4 matchup. Now this one really made me think for a little bit. Eastern Washington is the highest ranked team in KenPom in this conference, but Weber State is 6 spots behind them. Eastern Washington is just outside the top 70 in offense, by far the best offense in this conference. But their defense is lagging behind, outside of the top 250. That does worry me a lot for their sake here in this tournament. And Weber State, I was saying it earlier, they're a very well-rounded team, and I think that well-rounded teams in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament, typically tend to beat one-sided teams. But in a conference tournament like this, I don't know. I think there's something in the air in Eastern Washington. I mean, I think they're gonna get mad from last year. They were the 1 seed. They lost in the first round. I think their coach is gonna get them ready for this. I think they're gonna be on a little bit of a revenge tour this season. So I will go ahead and take them. But the defense definitely does concern me. If this was a March Madness game, I'd probably go with Weber State just because of how well-rounded they are and how one-sided really Eastern Washington is. But I really like their offense, and I think if they can get into the tournament, they could pose a team in the first round some problems just because of how good their offense is. But it does worry me in this tournament. I will take them because I think they are on a revenge tour from last year. So I'll take them to move on to the title game. Now looking at the 2 versus 3, Northern Colorado taking on Montana, and honestly, kind of for the same reason, a little bit, I will go with Montana. They are a little bit more one-sided than Northern Colorado, but Northern Colorado, their defense does concern me. They're just inside the top 300 in defense. Montana is a lot higher than them in KenPom. They're higher than them in offense and defense. Montana being just outside the top 80 in offense. They're 30 spots ahead of Northern Colorado in offense. They're 30 spots ahead of Northern Colorado in defense. They are about 30 spots ahead of them overall in KenPom. I mean, I'm going to go with Montana. All the numbers back it up here. And I think this is going to set up a very high-scoring title game, which is going to be very fun to watch. So, yeah. We got the 1 seed, Eastern Washington, taking on the 3 seed, Montana. And I think, like I said, I think this one will be a very fun game to watch. These two teams have very, very good offenses, but they play a little bit different. Montana likes to slow the game down, but they're very efficient with their shots. They take good shots, good looks, and they end up making them more often than not. Eastern Washington is a team that likes to play fast. Their offense is ranked higher than Montana, and their defense is, just narrowly higher than Montana. So they edge out Montana by 10 in overall offense, and they edge out Montana by 8 in defense. Ultimately, I think the story here is Eastern Washington is just looking for revenge from last year. I think they're mad that they lost in the first round. I think they go out there with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I know they're the 1 seed, but I don't know. I see a little bit of a revenge tour looming for this Eastern Washington team. I think they match up pretty well in this one. They're better in both offense and defense. They're better overall, uh, and they play very fast, which does worry me a little bit. When a fast paced, high powered offense plays a slow paced, high powered offense, it it does worry me a little bit. But I am gonna take Eastern Washington. This conference was actually pretty tough to pick, so this could be a sneaky little conference tournament you might want to tune in for a couple games. If this were to be the conference title game, it would be a very fun game to watch. So I will take Eastern Washington, but I definitely do think a team like Montana or Weber State could potentially knock them off. But I think they get their revenge from last year and punch their ticket to March Madness, and they could definitely give a team some troubles just because of that offense being as good as it is and the pace they like to play the game at. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the Big Sky Conference Tournament predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like I said earlier, all 32 college basketball conference tournament picks right here on this channel. Turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss when we upload these videos. As always, my Discord next, linked in the description. You can join that, you can follow that, whatever you'd like to do. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We're doing 2 videos tomorrow. I believe it is the America East and the Southland. So yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow with those 2 prediction videos.